haven't shown a passion or an interest behind understanding Black struggle and Black injustice. That's a fact. Like I said, I talked about this the other day on the show. The fact that Black parents need to be well aware of our history and be passionate about it so they can teach it to their children, because if they don't give a shit, their kids won't. Right? I talked about that last week. But this is something that we face a lot in our community, family. Like the indifference between Black people, like the Black people who sit on the fence, who don't necessarily think racism is that bad, who don't necessarily think the institutions that have been constructed in this country have systematically deprived us of shit. Like, that's a fact. But we got Black folks who don't see it that way, who think just pulling yourself up by your bootstraps is the answer. And in my opinion, those type of Black parents produce Black children who will find themselves at a high school where they're participating in being in a fucking slave auction. Right? This is despicable behavior. So yes, these Black children allowed their white teammates to put them in a mock slave auction, whether they're playing, whether it's for a school project, whatever the case may be. This shit is foul, right? These Black children allowed this to happen. I don't blame the kids as much as I blame the parents. So in this situation, yes, I'm holding the Black parents accountable, but really all the adults in this situation failed, because yes, the administration at this high school caught wind of it, made it a point to suspend the rest of the season simply because there wasn't enough players now that these players were being suspended. That's why the season was canceled. Not because this was some racist shit. See, they didn't suspend the football season because a racist activity appalled them and they just couldn't see allowing these players to. No, they canceled the season because these players had to be suspended. Just so happens they're a large part of the football team. Now they can't play football. You see? So that kind of disrupted everything they was doing athletically. But family, the fact that the administration, the fact that the white parents, everybody involved should feel culpable in looking at a situation like this, because I do a lot of news stories, and this isn't the first time that I've seen young black men participating in slave auction type shit. This ain't the first time. So again, I'm not mad at the Black children to a degree. Like, of course, they should have knew better, but I blame the parents. The parents should have talked to their kids about racism, about the details behind what happened before racism, how Black civilizations helped civilize a lot of Caucasian people, like the things we introduced into this society. This is a greatness that we're a part of. But this system, the educational system, the media does a great job of making sure we don't remember this shit. So who is responsible for making sure your child understands the history of where he or she comes from, right? So this is some of these things may seem kind of small to people, but this is a big issue, because my youngest son, who lives with me, I'm proud because he attends a school that is majority white, and he has been faced with racialized incidents that he's had to handle. And one thing I realized, I wasn't even cognizant of it at the time, but one thing I realized is because of the effort me and his mother puts into our community, the effort we put into empowering Black people without us even saying it. Because in the home, yes, we talk about racism, we talk about white supremacy, we talk about these things in a fair, from a fair historical perspective, a fair historical perspective, which is important because my son goes to school with, like I said, all different types of children, and he has white friends, white associates who he does not judge or treat in a particular way, because of how we've introduced these topics to him. A lot of people come at me about talking to your kids about history and racism and police brutality and all these things, there is a way to address these things with your children where there is no hate involved in the conversation. If you keep it on history and the events that have actually taken place, your kids will get a good perspective of what you're talking about, and they can go on to have white friends, Asian friends, Mexican friends. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you enter into this like adulthood and adolescence and you don't have a pride in being black, you can be caught off guard with one of these incidents where your parents didn't equip you with information about what can happen or what can be said to you because of your skin color. So now you um get involved in a situation involving race where someone calls you something or someone treats you a particular way based on how you look, and you internalize this in an incorrect manner. And in my opinion, that's all based on the parenting or lack thereof. So again, I'm talking about a news story where white high school athletes did a mock slave auction with the black athletes. School got wind of it, seen the video, it suspended the kids. It inadvertently canceled the football season because most of the kids doing it was playing football, right? So like I spoke about, the administration is full of shit, and these kids should be fined. Or because look, in my opinion, family, when we look at the Dylan Roofs, of the world, when we look at the white supremacists who have made it a point in the name of saving white society, in the name of white supremacy, we've seen a lot of white men, because people don't keep it real about this enough. We've seen a lot of white men involved in shootings, school shootings, shooting up events with a lot of people. This is all based on white supremacy. And sometimes, just sometimes, right, the shit may start like this. It may start with a kid who is making jokes about slave auctions, who may make light of what's actually taking place with black people in America. To me, this can be the start of a kid eventually thinking that now he's aligning himself with white